Good afternoon, everybody. How are we doing? Oh, I love that energy. How's it going? It's like the warmest day in Scotland ever. My God, I'm like sweating and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, we don't have a lot of time, so I just want to get into it, and hopefully at the end, I also want some time if you have any questions. Is that cool? Okay, so how to studio prep like a pro. My name is Michelle Escoffery. This is a little bit about me. This is me at the age of 16. I come from a musical family, as you can see. I'm the youngest of four, and I was a little bit different from my sisters, just a little bit. My father taught us all how to sing. I've been singing since the age of 7, went semi-professional at 9, signed to Atlantic Records at 16, and joined another girl group called Truce at 18. And then about 6 years later goes, stuff it, I don't want to bloody tour the world. Come on. Living out of a suitcase, I decided to go full on into songwriting. I signed to EMI Music Publishing in 2001 to a guy called Guy Moot. And I think 2002 had the hit Liberty X Just a Little. That was my first UK #1. And I founded thank you. I founded a showcase platform called Kindred, which I stopped in 2009 because I was just damn tired. But we started back again in 2024. What else is there? I started teaching by accident somehow, talking about music in 2007, doing masterclasses in universities, and ended up being a module lead on the MA at Tile Yard in 2019, maybe 2018, 2019, for about 3 or so years. And that has led me to advocacy work. I've always been investing in songwriters and creatives, and sat on the board for the PRS. I became the president of the Members Council, and served for 6 years. And yeah, that's me. Right, prep. Why does prep matter? So prep matters because its preparation protects the energy in the room. You save time if you're prepared. Also, it builds trust with your co-workers, and it gets to the truth faster. And it just keeps things moving in the room, and it avoids things just being surface level. So what does that even mean? When you are, so for myself as a songwriter, I work a lot with artists. So prep is absolutely necessary. But this also applies to if you're working with a producer, for instance. Do your research. Find out what they're doing. Listen to what's come before. Listen to the music that they've already made. And then also evaluate changes in their musical direction. If they've been around for a while, maybe their sound has changed a little bit. And then as well, look at their known influences, but also look at where are they going? What sound could they possibly be going to next? What, particularly A&Rs, they don't want to hear what they've already heard. They want to hear something going in another direction or a newer direction. So think about things like that. And also think about where they are in their career if you're working with an artist. If they're at the start of their career, the songs you write with them are going to be different from if they're mid-career, if they've just finished a world tour and they're knackered, or if they're coming towards the end of their career. So, you know, it might be, are you trying to write evergreens? Are you trying to write massive ballads? Or is it that you're wanting to write more up-tempo songs, more catchy, more singles? So really think about where that person is in their timeline and how you can contribute to making something either reviving their career or just keeping it bubbling, keeping it moving, or getting them discovered. You might be the person that writes that hit that breaks them, and it's just like, oh my God. Then you've got loads of work after that. Get to know each other. I've put a picture. It's not actually tea. My vice is tea and cake. I like to spend time with people that I'm working with. I like to get to know them a little bit and build rapport with them. So normally I would ask to either before the session or just before the session. You know what? The session's starting at 12. Let's meet at 11. Let's have a cup of tea and a bit of cake and just have a chat. Emotional check-in. I like to figure out, where are you? Where are you? What's happening in your life? Are you knackered, tired, grieving, breaking up, just in love? All of that stuff, because that is gold. It's such good impetus for writing. And what I would also say is listen to what is not said as much as you listen to what is said. Because a lot of the time, somebody in the studio, their behavior is going to tell you as well what's going on with them. They're a bit nervous, they might be a bit reserved. I like to kind of listen to the room first before I just start interjecting. Some people like to lead sessions, other people like to more kind of meld in, and other people like to wait for the vibe to happen and then jump in. So it's really becoming aware of all those things. Know the room. Every single room is different. Every room is different. No room is going to be the same. So find out who's in the room. So do we have 3 writers, 5 writers, 4 writers, just me and a producer? Like, what is it? And what do they bring? What are their strengths? What are their qualities? Or what are their weaknesses? And then what are you bringing to counteract that? And where can you guys meet in the middle? Yeah? Does that make sense? Cool. Oh, I feel like I'm really speeding through this. Let me take a breath. Yeah. All right. And listen. I love just kind of hanging out for a little bit and listening to music. Listening to what they're listening to at the moment. What's their favorite song? Is there something they're really excited about? Let's listen to it. Are there references? Everybody's always got a reference. So whether that be the A&R has references for you, or the artist is going, I don't like those references. They ain't got nothing to do with what I want to do. Okay, let's listen to what you want to do. And trying to find that middle ground between what either management and A&R want, and then what the artist wants as well. It's really important. And also it helps with potentially getting that cut. If you have the artist that's really invested in the song that you've written together because you've paid attention, then it's a lot of the times it's easier to get that cut if that's the route that you're going, right? And then references and what you're really loving can help to relax and inspire a room. Listen deeply, like what I was saying earlier. Listen to those spaces in between. Listen to what they're saying, but also listen to what they're not saying. And don't copy, don't imitate. Like, just come with your sound, with your original ideas, and, you know, just be yourself, really. Just be yourself. Bring your gems. Please do not bring your D drawer. Don't bring your bottom drawer shit. Seriously. Like, just don't do that. Yeah? Please bring your top drawer ideas, your top drawer. I've worked with producers and I'm just like falling off the chair in boredom when it's like, this is really what you prepared for us to write to. Right. Okay. No, that's not going to work. So bring your A game. Always bring your A game to a session. Always get yourself inspired and bring those gems. Like, prepare. You don't have to overdo it or overthink it. Sometimes people like overthink sessions. Try not to do that. Try to just come with the goodies. Be open. Be open to trying things. Be open to doing things in different ways. Be open to trying new ideas. This picture here actually was in Lagos, Nigeria, and this young man had created. We were having a playback session at the SARS Academy, and his music was outstanding. And he made all his music on this tiny little Android phone. And we're a little bit nerdy and geeky, so we were like, no, we need to see. Let me see the program you're using, and it was all within the phone. So it's like, just be open. People are gonna come with different technology, different ideas, different programs, different doors. It's fine. It's all moving in the same direction. And no idea is too silly or too small. And sometimes those ideas that you think are like, oh, cringe, or it's a bit silly, or it's a bit out there, those are the magical ideas. Those are the springboards to move you on to the next idea, or to actually expand on the idea that you already have. So always, always, always be open and share in the room those ideas. Yeah? All right. This is a big one. How many of you actually do this? One. Oh my God. Two. Two, three. One, two, three. Woo! All right. Agree the splits. Agree your splits before you leave the room. Shall I say it again? Agree the splits before you leave the room. When things get good and a song gets released that you didn't think was going to do anything, all of a sudden everybody's got amnesia. And all of a sudden everyone's like, no, 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 I wrote that bit. Actually, no, I think maybe I wrote 64% of the song when they really only wrote 13. Agree your splits. Agree, agree, agree the splits. How I like to do it is when we get to the end of a session and the vibe is high, I just always ask this question, how are we splitting this, guys? What's fair? What's a fair way for us to split this? And let me add something else to that. Once you've agreed your splits, register that shit. Okay? If you have a publisher or a manager, always send it to them. I like to send an email to everybody that was involved to say, guys, great session. That was amazing. I love you. Here's what we agreed. See what we did there? Here's what we agreed. Are we in agreement? Now it's in writing. And then you register that. And it's done. Rather than arguing a year, 5 years, 7 years later on who was in the room and who wrote the song and who wrote what and who was the genius and who wasn't the genius and who was falling asleep on the sofa and who was outside having an argument with whoever. Just agree the splits, man. I think, yes. And then that's it. Have fun and do it all over again. That's it. Those are my links. Questions, please. Have a roving mic. Thank you. Ah.
Cheers. When you decided that you would like to go into songwriting for people as opposed to performing as an artist, how did you find an avenue into that? Was there a person you spoke to, or did you just go out there and put yourself out into the world? Could you explain to me how you did that?
Yeah. I was really fortunate because I came from a singing group and we were writing songs already. I was already exposed to producers. I just basically became a bit of a pest. And, you know, at 16, it can be, maybe it's cute. So I would just say to producers, can I send you my stuff? Can you give me feedback on what was good and what wasn't good, what worked, what I can work on? And I probably did that for about a year or so and really paid a lot of attention to what these people said that are out there making music. When I left the group, so when would that have been? 98, I think. Again, I spent about 2 years maybe or more just writing and listening to music, really kind of just immersing myself in that and looking at what worked. Okay, why did that song work? Why did that chorus work? Why did that verse work? What are the similar frequencies? You know, what's the length of, I don't know, a verse? Okay. And I'm actually doing exactly the same thing now because I've just signed a new publishing deal. I don't know why. I've gone crazy. But I've just signed a new publishing deal. And, you know, writing goes in cycles and trends. And it's a different trend now than when I was writing 20 years ago. So now I'm doing my research again and going, okay, this is interesting. The melodies are different. The timings are slightly different. But actually, there's a lot of going back to the 90s, going back to the 80s sounds. And it's like, yeah, we were there. So we can actually really write this with authenticity. So I'd say, don't be scared to reach out to people. don't be scared to send your things to people. You might not get a response, but sometimes you do. And have that ammunition. You know, a lot of times people come up and say, "Oh my, I'm a writer. I've done this," da, 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 da," and you go and look at their socials. Not one piece of music on there. Okay, how do I find your shit? Do you know what I mean? So make sure that people can find your music. People can find it, whether it is, I don't know, on SoundCloud or wherever. Just make sure people can actually find it. That's what I would say. And don't be scared to reach out to people. I love what you do. Can we collaborate? Would you mind listening to my stuff? Just give me some feedback. That's what I would say. You're welcome. Anybody else? Any more for any more? They're shy. Cool. No more questions? Oh, we have a question. Oh yeah. Read it, digest it, then tear it up. I know that's probably the real PC, like un-PC. But I guess it really depends what you're writing for as well. Some things are very specific and you have to really stick to the brief. I find with more generic music that the briefs are quite generic and really they don't really know what they're looking for. They're like, we need the next hit. No shit, Sherlock. So do I. Do you know what I mean? So it's trying to interpret that. What does that actually mean? If they've sent references, then you have a bit of a clearer idea as to, okay, this is the kind of sound that they're going for. But what I have found is when I have stuck really closely to the brief, I don't get the cut. Because then they go, yeah, but it sounds a little bit too much like, no, that's what you said you wanted. So it's having that imagination to go, okay, we know that this is the nucleus of what you want, but how do we embellish it? How do we make it more sexy? How do we make it more exciting? And that's what really I think that a lot of A&Rs are looking for from songwriters when they send that brief. Mm-hmm. Woo! Can you imagine? Is it, what is, I know that, okay, that's like three. All right. Number one, yeah. Yep. Oh, no, I didn't. Sorry. Oh, man. She's just outed me. Yes. Okay. Yes, it did. And at the time, songwriters did not get acknowledged. So it was only the artist that got the award. But now, that's reparations. I can go retrospectively and actually get a Brit for that. Yeah, no, I knew. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. They were called pop stars. They came from that show Pop Stars, and they were calling them flop stars. Yeah, yeah. But we had a whole negotiation about that as well. So we wrote that song. We wrote it for somebody else, and then they was like, "Oh, we really want it for Liberty X." It's like it's got to be the next single. It's got to be priority, and we have to produce it. So they came to my house literally 5 days after I gave birth. It's not good relationship like building stuff. It's just not. I was in the studio 5 days after that. I'm recording their vocals, and that's how that all came about. And literally, it's like it happened January, and it was released the March, and it was number one midweek. So another thing, believe in your songs, believe in what you do and how you hear them. You know, you're not always going to win that fight. There's always bigger producers with more numbers, etc. But if you truly, truly believe in something, push for it. In answer to your question, reparations would be amazing. Reparations would be amazing. However, when you sign some of those deals, their idea is that that advance is going to take care of you going, that's you're dedicating your life to writing songs, but we all know that that's not possible with what we're getting right now. I definitely think that songwriters should be paid for their time. A day rate would be, you know, standard in my opinion. And I don't think that £75 a day is enough. Yeah, said what I said. I'm not gonna take it back. All good? Well, you guys have been great. Thank you so much. That was my little whistle stop tour of songwriting. Thank you.